It's back to school week here on KDK. Every day we're going to be sharing special stories and segments in our morning and evening news, as well as on Pittsburgh Today Live and Talk Pittsburgh.
And tonight we're tackling the topic of the national teacher shortage. KDKA lead investigator Andy Sheehan takes a look at the reasons behind it and what can be done to turn the tide.
Like a math problem on a final exam, the question of why teachers are leaving the profession is a complex one.
I'm like teaching phonics, teaching math, teaching literacy and writing, and trying to get the kids to move.
But unlike the exam, there's not one right answer to the problem.
In our world, we have a ton of problems, and there's hardly ever one Band-Aid solution that'll work.
Stagnant teacher salaries, poor working conditions, opportunities in higher-paying careers, and a lack of support for new teachers are factors in the subtraction.
Why would I subject myself to this? Like, I can go work somewhere else and make about the same money and not have to deal with that.
Professor Edward Fuller teaches future teachers at Penn State Center for Education Evaluation and Policy Analysis. He also studies why people don't become teachers.
College has become increasingly expensive. When tuition goes up now, it's like, well, I'm going to go into a profession that doesn't pay great.
And why teachers leave. Last year, nearly 9,000 teachers left the profession in Pennsylvania, 7% of teachers working in the Commonwealth. And that's actually an improvement because the year before, 9,500 left. And the number of newly certified teachers is nowhere near what it will take to replace them. Just 5,600 certifications were issued last year.
But there are so many obstacles, not just in Pennsylvania and in Pittsburgh, all over the country. Why would anybody want to be a teacher?
Yasim Dowsimer taught for more than a decade in New York City before moving to Pittsburgh in 2017. She eventually got a job teaching at an elementary school in Larimer, where she worked until 2022.
There's just not enough compensation for the amount that teachers have to do. I had kids who had learning disabilities, health issues like diabetes, and parents needed support.
One stopgap measure school districts are increasingly turning to as shortages increase is emergency certifications that don't require a teacher to have gone through a program or spent time as a student teacher.
We can flood schools with teachers. They won't teach very well, but we'll have more than enough teachers. And that's what we have now, right? In Pennsylvania, we have over 8,000 people on emergency permits, but they're not certified to teach.
Professor Fuller says here in southwestern PA, our teacher shortage is not as bad as it could be.
Part of it is because nobody's moving to the western part, right? It's so it's easier. You don't have to find additional teachers on top of the ones you already have.
In Allegheny County, where there are more than 10,700 teachers, the Pennsylvania Department of Education estimates there's a shortage of 397, with 3% of teachers on emergency permits. Compare that to Philly, where there's a shortage of nearly 3,600 teachers, with nearly a quarter on emergency permits.
It looks really good compared to Philadelphia.
But not being Philly isn't enough to attract and retain teachers here. Dowsimer says beyond the baseline of better salaries, young teachers need more mentors and support.
How are we compensating and thinking about compensating teachers that want to coach younger teachers? How are we compensating younger teachers who are great leaders, grow quickly, and want to be a part of admin?
One approach is certifying more teachers, pay them while they're learning. Last year, lawmakers increased funding to $20 million to support more than 2,100 student teachers with $10,000 stipends. However, the state says more than 4,000 student teachers applied. Governor Shapiro proposed budget for 2025-26 would double the program's funding to $40 million. But the budget is still in front of the legislature, past its deadline by more than a month.
That's what I mean by we're not prioritizing education in this country. If we would see more for teachers to be able to get through these certification requirements, these things that cost money. We would see their salaries going up higher.
Fuller says the impact of having more qualified teachers in classrooms is enormous in students' educational outcomes. He says research continually shows that aside from parents, teachers are the most important factor in influencing student learning. Andy Sheehan, KDKA-TV News.